Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to today's Wild Rift video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a more in-depth look at Yuumi and kind of my updated opinion about Yuumi as well. She's only been out for a week now. I've got updated build here for you as well. I've also got gameplay after this, which I'll be talking a lot more about Yuumi, about how to play Yuumi, what counters Yuumi has, etc. Things like that as well. So if you want to skip the build part, there are timestamps in the description, which will head you straight over to the gameplay. Again, I just talk throughout the whole game just to give you a more in-depth look at Yuumi. Now with the build, hasn't really changed too much, to be fair, with my first Yuumi build that I kind of predicted on release. Starfloor Flowing Waters is still a really strong item, just gives you a great bunch of base stats, and also your healing and shielding grants you and your ally the ability haste, and the same with Ardent Sensor as well. A lot of stats, a lot of ability power, and also grants the ally that you're on when you're healing more attack speed as well and more damage. So that's all well and good. That's kind of the two same items. Then after that, I went for Harmonic Echo as well, which is kind of the same. Now you can swap this out for Death Cap if you're ahead. You can go for Starfloor Flowing Waters, Ardent Sensor, and then into Death Cap. But you can go for Harmonic Echo as well. Now the moving and casting abilities part of Harmony works when you're attached to allies as well. So you can get a lot of procs with Harmonic Echo and just, you know, heal and shield even more as well, which is what Yuumi is all about. Yuumi is all about going to different allies, healing, shielding, and being kind of enchanter support that she needs to be. Rabadon's Death Cap as well, increasing the ability power, which is really nice. And then you have Morellonomicon as well. Now, the reason why Morellonomicon's in here is you can build the Oblivion Orb, so the tier 2 item, and most of the time you want to complete the item anyway. The Oblivion Orb is quite good, especially if you use your final chapter, your ultimate, on multiple enemies, and then it will reduce the healing of the grievous wounds as well. And the reason why I've got boots as the last item is the important part about Yuumi is you shouldn't really be buying boots, like, at all. Probably not until, like, you at least complete, I would say, 3 items. If you have spare gold, then you can build it, but most of the time I wouldn't even recommend doing that. I'd recommend going towards your next item instead, maybe building, like, another Amp Tome or something like that, which is the AP tier 1 item, or anything like that, really. Like I said, boots is not really needed. You don't want to waste 1,500 gold on just redemption, because Yuumi doesn't need boots at all. She doesn't need it, and not really needed at all. Airy, go-to rune. Self-explanatory, really. More shielding, more poking, and everything like that as well. I've gone for Brutal now. I've changed it out from Champion. Now, the only thing that I've realized with Yuumi is that her first ability is just garbage. It doesn't really do that much damage at all. It's not really powerful. The poke damage is not really there. More used for, like, the slows, really, which can help a little bit. But most of the time, Yuumi's all about the healing anyway. So, Champion, not really a thing. I'm not going to try full AP Yuumi as well, because I've given it a test and it doesn't really do that much damage, to be fair. So we changed out Champion for Brutal now, just to give you that little bit of extra AP throughout all stages of the game, just to make your healing and your damage a little bit better. Again, Loyalty is the go-to rune. There's not really any other rune you can go. Just giving you our closest ally Champion more armor and magic resist is quite nice. All the other Resolve tree you don't really need, because you don't really need any defensive stats for yourself. You're all about, you know, jumping on allies and giving them extra stats instead. And then you have Mana Flow Band as well. Now Yuumi still has that problem in the early game with the mana, and with Mana Flow Band, if you do land your first ability, you can proc Mana Flow Band and get a little bit of extra mana, which is quite nice. And for the spells, they've stayed exactly the same as well. Exhaust and Heal, obviously you don't need Flash, which is really important to make sure you don't go Flash as well. You don't need any escape tools because you can jump around. You just have to make sure you be careful when you jump out of an ally. Make sure all your the crowd control of the enemy champions have been used, so you can dash straight back in afterwards. You can swap out Heal if you want to. You can go like Exhaust Ignite if you want to. If your AD carry takes heal, but most of the time they will take barrier even after the nerfs as well. I still feel like AD carries will still take barrier, but that's kind of my updated build on Yuumi. Again, like I said, I'm going to go into a gameplay now. I'm going to show you all kind of Yuumi at all stages of the game and explain to you how you can play Yuumi and how you can carry with Yuumi as well. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, on to the gameplay with Yuumi. As mentioned already, you don't want to buy boots or anything like that with Yuumi until like 2 or 3 items. You'll see in this game that I actually build Athenes, but I wouldn't really recommend going to Athenes anymore. There's been some testing everything in the community, and most of the time you just want to go for like Starfloor Flame Waters, Ardent Sensor, maybe go for Harmonic Echo after that, but then you can just go for Death Cap if you are ahead as well. Yuumi Vayne, a really strong combo. Obviously in the early game you're not going to be as strong, you're going to be struggling a lot. We're against Draven Blitzcrank, which is a very aggressive early lane duo lane, I should say. Unfortunately for our mid laner, he did get ganked to level 1 by 4 people, so it was a little bit of an unfortunate event for the mid laner, but it means that we can push out in the dual lane, and that means that Draven will lose some farm and some experience. You'll see here that Draven is trying to get the farm, but we're trying to zone him out as much as possible. This is the thing with Yuumi, you know, sometimes you can jump out and sometimes you can auto-attack, because it's not the worst thing in the world. I auto-attack to get the extra mana from my passive and to get the shield as well onto Vayne. What I found out as well, actually, is that the first ability is actually quite hard to aim sometimes. Sometimes when you're trying to drag it and when you're trying to move it, sometimes it's a little bit difficult. So it might be, you know, it might take me quite a long time to get used to it. So the thing is with this lane, with Yuumi, when you're jumping out, you need to be very, very careful. Because Draven's third ability and also Blitzcrank's knock-up, Blitzcrank's silence, and Blitzcrank's hook can all basically stop Yuumi from jumping back in. So it can be really, really hard sometimes to jump out and proc the passive. So the best thing we could do in this laning phase is just to play pretty much as passive as possible. You can see at the moment I don't really want to jump out. I'm kind of waiting for the Blitzcrank hook to come through or Draven's E to come through or anything like that to make sure that I'm actually, you know, fully safe and fully aware of being able to easily jump back in. You can see I'm maxing the third ability. What Yuumi players are going now is they're maxing third ability into second ability to give your AD carry or the ally that you're jumping on more stats, which is what happens with the second ability. As mentioned, you know, the first ability doesn't really do anything at all. You know, it doesn't really do that much damage. It doesn't really do that much in terms of, you know, any help or anything like that. And this is where the two combat summoner spells come in. Now, even though we're really, really early, late game composition, you can see I use my passive here, I use my shield as well, and Vayne stays alive. So, even though that we probably have the weaker of the duo lanes, because they do have Draven Blitzcrank, I have Exhaust, I have heal, so I was able to exhaust the Draven, so we didn't do as much damage to Vayne, and I also healed the Vayne as well at the same time. I propped the passive to get the shield, and I also healed up Vayne at the same time. So that's allowed us to win that 2v2 exchange in the duo lane. So, as mentioned, you know, sometimes you don't want to stay inside your ally the whole time. Sometimes you want to jump out, you want to proc your passive, you want to give your ally or your duo lane the shield, you want to heal as well and everything like that. So even though Yuumi sometimes gets like memed and says you can, you know, go AFK and play it on two phones, like I saw I saw Darkbreaker do as well, which honestly was great content to watch. But I mean, you can still do stuff with Yuumi. You know, you don't have to just sit on the ally for the entire game. You can still do other things as well. Level 5, so we have our final chapter up and available. You can see that I'm trying to do as much poke damage as possible with my first ability, but I'm not really doing it for the damage. I'm mainly doing it, so this is where I make a mistake here. I jump out when I know that the Blitzcrank has everything available, and so does Draven, and unfortunately I did get a little bit caught out there, but luckily I was able to use my final chapter and I was able to survive. But that's one of the moments when you need to think, okay, now's a really bad time to jump out with Yuumi, because if Draven uses that third ability, it will be put on a 4-second cooldown, 5-second cooldown. I can't remember the time exactly. But as you can see, we're going for stuff for flame water. We're not buying boots or anything, because this is all you do during the laning phase. You go into your ally, they walk to lane instead, so they're the ones that buy the boots, and you don't need to walk to lane, you don't need to walk around or anything like that, because most of the time during laning phase, you're not going to roam around with Yuumi, you're just going to stay on your dual lane carry, and you'll be completely fine. Unfortunately here, I did get caught again by my by Draven's third ability. I think that was really unfortunate. I think at that time I could have maybe healed before I jumped out with Yuumi, but the problem was that I was kind of a bit of a difficult situation because Blitzcrank was able to hook. But here, I have the Draven. I jump out again at the exact same time that Draven uses his E's. So, again, another little mistake there. But, I mean, it's all about learning. I mean, this is actually, I think, my first game playing Yuumi in a long, long time. I think the last time I played Yuumi was on PC League of Legends. And obviously, it's a little bit different there. I got a kill there. You know, support lives do matter, and as you can see, my final chapter here stuns both the Evelynn and the Xinjiao, and the Blitzcrank, sorry, and Xinjiao gets another kill. So really, really important to make sure your final chapter is in a good position, not only for the person in front of you, not only for the enemy, sorry, in front of you, but also the enemies behind as well. If you can get it in a good area of effect, you can stun enemies behind, and then your champions and your allies can follow up as well. So Xinjiao was able to follow up on the Evelynn as well, because I got the stun with the final chapter, and we was all good. There's a little exchange happening in the duo lane, but nothing too crazy. I mean, I think it's just, yeah, nice little exchange. as I take a little bit of a sip of my drink. As we're watching me just stay on my ally and proc my mana flow band as much as possible. So yeah, I mean, like, you know, the roaming and everything there was really, really important. You can see there that I'm using my passive to make sure that I can give the shield to the Vayne, which will help her out. Evelyn's here as well now, so it's a little bit difficult to try and do something in this dual lane at the moment. We're just trying to make sure they can't take the tower, but the problem is that Evelyn's probably hovering around, and Yasuo's coming up as well. But there, as you can see, you know, Star for the Flowing Water we get, and then we go straight for the Ardent Censer. You know, we don't need the boots or anything. We just need to make sure that we get the get as much stats as what we can, you know, and everything. Most of the time as a dual lane, if you are playing with a Yuumi, you kind of want to stay in base until they buy items, unless they're taking really, really long. Unfortunately here, my Vayne tries to go in. I remember this point exactly, yeah. My Vayne tries to go in without me there, unfortunately, and dies for it. If Yuumi waited a little bit longer, I mean, not Yuumi, sorry, if Vayne waited a little bit longer and allowed me to, you know, jump on her and allowed me to attach to her, then maybe that would have been a better 2v2 situation. But before I could even jump onto her, she was already on like 10% HP. So by the time I jumped on her and healed her, she was already dead anyway. But anyway, you know, more fun for the support. Support lives matter, chat. That is the main important thing you need to know. I was a support main on PC League, so I do know how to play champions like Yuumi and everything. I played Yuumi quite a lot actually on PC League, especially Nami as well. Nami was another one that I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate situation for my my AD carry there. I didn't really want her to fight. I wanted her to wait for me in base. You can see that I was just buying the components for the Ardent Censer. But yeah, I couldn't really get there as quickly because I don't have the boots. But again, as I mentioned, if you're playing in a dual lane and if you have a Yuumi, most of the time you want to wait in base until Yuumi attaches onto you, and then you can both go to the lane together. You see here, I get the cannon minion. Again, support lives matter again. I try and roam to the mid lane. The problem is I can't really go in. Xin Zhao goes way too far forward. I wasn't in W range, unfortunately, and I couldn't really do that much. He kind of went a little bit too early. I was hoping that the Xin Zhao would wait for me, but the problem was I wasn't in range of my W. Because I wasn't in range of my W, I wasn't able to jump on the Xin Zhao because he flashed ahead. He was able to, he went balls deep basically without me even being on him. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate situation there. You can see I'm just going to attach my Xin Zhao here. If he lets me, he's not going to let me. Okay. I was going to wait for the Vayne in base as well, but I see that the Vayne is still pushing the top lane. So yeah, I mean, this is a situation where people probably don't understand, you know, because you don't buy boots on Yuumi, it's always important to make sure that you allow your Yuumi to attach onto you if she's in base and you're in base as well at the same time. Because you don't buy boots, but that's also a good thing about Yuumi as well. You get a lot of base stats and everything as well. So we'll have to see. But yeah, as you can see, I'm typing and I'm saying don't walk out of my range, because if I can't attach onto anyone, then I won't be able to do anything. You can see here that I'm going to type in a second. I believe so. If I remember correctly. Oh, no, I'm not going to type. That was maybe another game. I think it was another game where I had an item completed and I could go back to base, and I just said to my team, I was like, oh, I'm going back to base to buy an item, and then the person I was attached onto recalls. So it's about communicating with your team with Yuumi as well, just making sure that you can attach onto allies as well at the same time. I don't know why, but I'm struggling to talk today. Maybe it's all that casting I've been doing over the weekend. So yeah, it's a little bit of an unfortunate one. But as you can see, I'm getting my passive shields again. You can see all the heals and everything you can do with Jax. And again, the final chapter is there as well. Sometimes I like to jump out when I'm using the final chapter. The main reason being is that I can... oh god, this is a really bad situation actually. I think I die, yeah. I think I die. I could have jumped on the Vayne a lot quicker, but I was trying to proc my passive before I jumped on. But unfortunately, I waited a little bit too long there. But Yasuo should be okay here. Misses his Q, but gets another kill. I think he has a lot of healing, yeah. He has a lot of healing. Really, really well played by the Yasuo. But the reason why I didn't jump onto my Vayne straight away is because I was trying to find someone to auto-attack, but Vayne condemned the Riven away. So I tried to auto-attack the Draven, but by the time I auto-attacked the Draven, he E'd me, and obviously that puts my W on a few seconds cooldown. So, again, it's just practicing with Yuumi at the same time. You know, you want to practice when you can jump out. You need to kind of know the crowd control that is available on the enemy team as well. And like I said, sometimes that can put you in a bit of a bad position. But yeah, I got my third ability fully upgraded now. And now it's my second ability fully upgraded. So I'm giving my my ally that I'm attached onto extra stats and everything. I'm doing a lot of healing as well. My third ability, especially my items as well. I have Staff of Flame Water. I have Ardent Sensor. If I didn't go with things, if I wasn't testing the things this game, I would have probably gone Death Cap or Harmonic Echo, but obviously I didn't get into that situation. You can see here, I'm on the Vayne at the moment, giving him the extra damage, and you can see my final chapter is not towards the Drake, it's towards the Draven. It's making sure that I could stun Draven, and obviously as you saw there, I rooted Draven, and he couldn't really move. He couldn't move up, he couldn't auto-attack. So again, sometimes you need to make sure that you aim your ultimate in the correct direction. I was able to root the Blitzcrank and root the Draven at the same time. Some people might have just rooted inside the Dragon Pit to try and do more damage to the Dragon, not try and root people inside the Dragon Pit. But it's about knowing where the enemy team is and knowing, you know, how much you can do with your ultimate. And as you can see in that situation, we won the team fight because I was able to root Draven and he wasn't able to auto-attack at all, and also root the Blitzcrank at the same time. But yeah, really, really good spot to be in. 2, 1, and 8 at the moment. I did unfortunately get that one death in the down in the Baron lane. But yeah, I mean, at this stage of the game, you know, Vayne probably has a few items. I can't really remember how many items she had at this point in the game. Probably like 2 or 3 items. As long as you stay on Vayne, you give her the adaptive damage, especially with, you know, the extra damage that she gets from the true damage and everything as well. You can see my healing here as well on the Xin Zhao is so much. The final chapter again across multiple enemies. I unfortunately root the Blitzcrank here. A little bit of a misplay for myself. I'm jumping out to try and get a little bit more mana and get the extra shield. I jump onto Yasuo here. You can see my shielded again. My shielding is absolutely disgusting. And again, another kill for the Yuumi. I jump onto the Vayne here. I give her a little bit of extra healing. I try and walk up to get the passive shield as well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to save my Vayne in time. Yeah, I was just trying to get the passive shield to her, but unfortunately, she died to the tower. But overall, again, another really important win. I think the main, I guess you could call it, things I can learn from this game is I probably need to attach onto my allies and heal them a lot more. Because I feel like there's multiple situations in this game. There's like, if I didn't worry too much about my passive and if I stayed on my allies, then I probably would have been able to save them a lot more. Vayne in the duo lane, Vayne just then as well. In situations like that. And as you can see, I got the themes on Holy Grail. I wouldn't really recommend to go it anymore. But as you can see, I still haven't bought boots. It's 30 minutes into the game. I still haven't bought boots because I don't need boots. I'm attached onto allies all the time. I don't really need the extra movement speed. And like I said, that's the important thing to note with Yuumi is that you do not want to build boots. I've seen so many Yuumis at the moment build like boots first item. You do not want to do this with Yuumi. You just want to get as many stats as you can. Mana, AP, health, you know, all these sort of stats that are going to help you as well. And that's the most important part with Yuumi, because you don't really need any situations where you need boots to get that extra bit of movement speed. You can see here that I was just jumping out to get the extra passive shield there, Xin Zhao as well. You can see final chapter with the Xin Zhao as well. A lot of healing, as you can see, with the Xin Zhao, and you can see how much damage the Xin Zhao is doing at the same time as well. So doing really, really well here, being able to jump around, heal up my allies as well. Vayne went a little bit too deep here, unfortunately. I was trying to proc the passive, but unfortunately not. And yeah, you can see I'm just healing up my Vayne. My heal there wasn't too much because of the grievous wound, so I probably could have waited a little bit. That's one thing to note on Yuumi, actually, which I kind of like to mention. If an ally has like a heart next to the name with like a cross through it, that means they have grievous wounds on them, which means that your healing will be reduced. So most of the time you want to not heal at that moment unless they're really, really low on health, because your healing gets reduced by quite a bit. Or just jump onto another ally, or just wait until it finishes. Because like I said, if you waste your third ability on a champion that has grievous wounds, then you're wasting a lot of mana, and also you're wasting the cooldown at the same time. God, I really need to get used to talking these videos. I thought I'd be used to this by now, because I've been doing the A to Z guys and I've been talking about different champions, but I think I just don't like talking about Yuumi. That's why I have to have a drink all the time. Yuumi's one of them champions which, you know, can be fun to play, but can be really hard as well, you know, to play against. It's definitely one of them champions. You can see they're actually going for a cheesy Baron play, which I don't really know if that's the best idea for them. You can see my final chapter going across Blitzcrank, going across the Gragas as well, which means he has the Zhonya's. I'm slowing down the Draven here. I'm going to give Vayne a little bit of extra movement speed. As you can see, the extra damage that Vayne does, it's disgusting. I mean, Vayne at this point of the game with Yuumi is absolutely disgusting. Not only is Vayne like such a great late game champion, but with the extra adaptive damage you get from Yuumi as well at the same time, and also all the heals and shields that you can give Vayne as well, she could basically frontline at that point. Like, it's really, really disgusting what you can do. You can see I'm proccing a passive here. I kind of make a little bit of a mistake here. I'm trying to actually... I'm trying to jump out of the Jax, but I feel like with Yuumi's W, it's a little bit delayed. So I was trying to press the W, and then I was trying to run away, but for some reason when I pressed the W, sometimes it felt like it wouldn't work. But I think there's a little bit delay from when you press the W, which is the second ability, to when you actually jump out. As you can see, I'm just telling my team to recall here because I can buy some more items. And we go for a death cap. Again, no boots. Most important thing to know with Yuumi, no boots yet. We're 15 minutes into the game. We're nearly level 15. We still don't have boots. And that's the most important thing to know. You do not need to buy boots on Yuumi. If you have players on your team that understand how Yuumi works, especially in the duo lane, they will know that you don't need boots to walk back to lane. They will just be attached to you most of the time. So you'll be the one that gets the extra movement speed, gives the extra movement speed to Yuumi to be able to get back to lane and phase a lot quicker. And again, it's the same during, you know, team fights and everything as well. So we need to have the death cap now, which is going to give us a little bit of extra damage and also the extra healing as well, which I think is the main thing. The damage part of Yuumi is not really that big, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, against this enemy team comp, Yuumi is not, you know, too bad, to be fair. I think I first picked Yuumi, so they picked a Blitzcrank to kind of counter the Yuumi. And that's kind of the main counters with Yuumi. Anything with crowd control like Thresh, Blitzcrank, Galio as well could be really, really good. Anything with heavy crowd control can be a big counter to Yuumi, because when she does jump out, when she tries to proc her passive, she'll be really, really hard. Oh, this is actually when I say, can you go back to base? I got death cap. So Vayne realizes that and then goes back to base with me. So again, it's about communicating with your team and doing that. Okay, maybe not. I thought that was the situation where he actually did that, but unfortunately it wasn't. Unfortunately here, I got knocked out again as soon as I jump out. But the good thing here, I was able to reposition my ultimate, which is really, really important. So it actually helped me a little bit by jumping out there. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to jump back onto the Vayne again to save her. Again, in a situation where I'd probably jump onto or stay on the Vayne, maybe she survives. Yeah, sometimes it could be a little bit of a struggle. I mean, knowing when and when not to jump out with Yuumi is really, really hard sometimes. Because when there's a lot of crowd control on the enemy team, and especially with this situation with Blitzcrank, Riven, God, I can't remember what else they have. Draven as well, Gragas crowd control, Evelyn as well could, you know, crowd control me. I don't think that she can really do anything too much, but yeah, with a team like that, it can be really, really hard. Unfortunately, Jax is AFK here. This is the only a bad part about Yuumi is that you kind of have to wait for your team. As you can see, I'm just going to jump onto the Vayne now. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I need to learn about Yuumi, and something that maybe you can learn about Yuumi as well, is that when you get to the big massive team fights like that, kind of wait maybe till the end to give your ally a shield. I'm trying to give my allies a shield at the start of the team fight when no abilities get used, which is kind of a big problem that I'm realizing now whilst watching back at the gameplay. Yeah, we have the Vayne now. We're really, really strong with Lulu. Late game Yuumi, sorry. Late game Yuumi and late game Vayne. There's not really much that the enemy team can do at this point. We have late game Jax as well. So yeah, not really much that they could do. Again, we get a pick onto the Blitzcrank. We're able to get a slow. We get the final chapter offer as well. I tried to jump out because I kind of messed up my my repositioning of the final chapter, or my casting of the final chapter. But again, you can see how much healing I can do with Vayne there. And the healing with the Vayne is absolutely disgusting. I jumped out, but I was able to jump back onto the Vayne, heal her up to pretty much half HP, even maybe over half HP, and she survived, even if Riven dashed onto her at the same time as well. Yeah, and then that is the end of the game. So a pretty clean game with Yuumi overall. Again, a few mistakes that I've, you know, kind of showed as well, which definitely you can learn from as well, but hopefully you learned a thing or two about this game. Very, very fun to play Yuumi, to be fair. Like I said, very annoying to play against though. So if you don't want to play Yuumi, or if your team doesn't want to play Yuumi, I'll definitely recommend banning it away. Especially if you're playing like duo or trio queue. That means that the enemy team probably has a duo or trio queue at the same time as well. Which means that it can be a little bit difficult. But you'll see the stats at the end here. I don't know why it takes so long to get to the stats screen. But there you go. You get to the stats screen now. This was a master game. I think I had a few grandmaster players on my team as well. But yeah, 3, 1, and 26. 8,000 damage with Yuumi. Not bad. You know, it could be a lot better. But yeah, like I said, Yuumi's main purpose is not to do with the damage. It's to do with the amount of heals and everything as well. And yeah, in the end, Vayne 13, 5, and 14, a lot of damage. And yeah, Yuumi, like I said, not really. I wouldn't really go for the Athenes. I'd probably go for like Harmonic Echo instead of Athenes, or you could build Death Cap before that. But yeah, that's everything about Yuumi. If you have any questions or anything, let me know down in the comments as always. Thank you for tuning into the video. Thank you all for watching if you watched up to this point. And as always, take care, and I will see you all very soon. Peace.